Hi, this is Vanessa Zamora. We're at PubCon Vegas 2008, and joining me now is Melanie Mitchell, Vice President of Marketing at Folio Investing. Thanks for joining us, Melanie.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about Folio Investing first off and the services that they offer?
Sure. Actually, well, just to start off, it's a startup and it's an online brokerage. It also is involved with mutual funds. And the reason why I really came to the company was because it was something that I believed was a good product and it was the right thing, where our CEO was a former SEC commissioner, and the reason he started the company is because he saw in the financial industry so many people basically having their money taken away from either people managing their money or from mutual funds, like all the hidden fees that are out there, and he wanted to create a company that existed to help investors wisely invest their money so they got the most out of it, so it wasn't being nickeled and dimed by people, and create a product that actually had the same results that they would get with an advisor or with, you know, a mutual fund company. And so that was really the reason. It wasn't that I was geared more towards finance, you know, per se. It was really just the overall, you know, I wanted to work for a company that I believed in the product that had a good mission.
Excellent. And when was the company founded?
It was founded in 2000, 2001, so it's been around for a while. They haven't done a whole lot. They've been focused more on the advisor side of everything, where they've been working with, you know, different individuals that go out and then manage lots of other people's money. And now they want to get in the retail side because there seems to be a gap out there where people know that they have to invest. They know that they need a 401k. They know they need to have savings in mutual funds, but they don't really understand the complexities involved. I mean, it's really not easy to go out there and figure all these different things out. So we wanted to create something that, you know, individuals could go to, and then create also, we're working on an education center to help people really understand some of these fine points like diversification, and, you know, if you have goals, how do you set those goals, and what should you do, and top mistakes to avoid, and understand the process. So it's not just, okay, well, I've heard of Fidelity here, you know.
Okay. So it sounds like it would successfully supplement or replace even a financial advisor.
Actually, I think it would supplement the advisor side rather than replace, because there's some people that just need advisors. Either they have a lot of money or they just want that extra touch point to work with someone to talk to a person about it. If they have special needs, it might be a little bit more complicated than just that I need a 401k or I need a retirement fund. They may just have certain situations that they would want that additional step. But it also is good for people, you know, like myself, that just says, okay, I just want to put X amount of money away every month, and my goal is in 20 years or 30 years, and so be able to do it myself.
Seems like, yeah, something worth checking out, and it's online, so it's easily accessible and whatnot. So last time we spoke, you were Vice President of SEM, SEO, was that your correct title at AOL?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so this has been quite, is it a drastic change? What are some of the differences in your responsibilities, well, at AOL and now at Folio Investing?
Well, it was a little bit more of a change, where at AOL, I was responsible for the SEO and SEM, but that was for everything, for all the free content. So it was working with, you know, 80, 100 plus different channels and different brands and different products, different conversion points. And it was really just to build that program up as we started to move content on the web, and that's what I came specifically to do. And for my next job, what I wanted to do was take the search component of it and build upon that. So be responsible for, you know, some of the social media, the PR side, the offline side, the other online components, and really come up with an overall integrated marketing strategy that also included search. Because search is very important, and it is definitely a starting point for many people, but I also wanted to work with the different levers in order to come up with that cohesive, kind of seamless approach to marketing.
I see. So in terms of the financial industry, I know it's probably different for all industries, but how does one, when you're responsible for search engine optimization, search engine marketing, email, public relations, all of these things, how do you determine where to put your money and what's most important, and tell me a little bit about that and how you're doing it in your strategy.
Well, for me, I'm just getting started in this role, and the company hasn't been focused on the retail side. So I almost feel like how when I came to AOL, like when I first got there, it was when they just decided to move content on the web, and there wasn't really anything in place. There was no processes, procedures, there was no tracking, there was really no numbers on conversions or anything because it hadn't been done before. And it's almost, I feel like I'm at that standpoint now where it's been focused on the advisor side, so there's not really much information on the retail side. And so we're laying the groundwork right now, getting the tracking in place. And where I'm going to start is going to start, I have it almost like in a triangle pattern of basically, the whole thing, of course, search engine optimize, paid search, because typically that is, a cheaper way to market. It's very targeted, and it typically converts well. On top of that layer is, press releases, other PR, blogger outreach, and then you get into the online, you get into banners, you get into videos, you get into the offline side. So whether you're doing targeted magazines, newspapers, television, radio, and then a lot of it is going to be those, I think a lot of it's going to be the touch points. But we want to understand the behavior, because from the advisor side versus the retail side, people behave differently and they have different needs. And so we're really trying to wrap our heads around what's the most effective. And so it's going to be an evolving process to see where people are coming from. Is it email that's working? Is it, search that's working? Is it online that's working? How are people hearing about us? Where are they coming from? Is it the bloggers that are really influencing people as to what they want, what they don't want? One of the challenges that is happening in the financial industry, as I'm sure most people are aware, is the trust and the reputation factor, just because there really isn't a lot of information out there, and a lot of the big companies that have been around for a long time have either fallen apart or been exposed to, yes, there's vulnerabilities. And so we want to build up that trust factor and really say that, we're here to do the right thing by you, and, we want to help you meet your goals and help you along the way, and we're not here to deceive you. And so that's why I think in the beginning it's going to be a lot of those kind of grassroots efforts, and then it'll just grow from there.
Excellent.
So, and I think every company's different. I think every company's got to figure out, who is their target audience? What is their behavior? Where do they typically go? Are they gamers? Are they people that typically go to search? Are they typically people that trust the offline side? So the advisor side, they seem to believe that a lot of people, they get a lot of their advisors from doing the magazine advertising and other offline components, because that's where those people are. A lot of those advisors are 40, 50, 60 years old, and that's the media they trust, and then they trust their friends, word of mouth. So it's very interesting, though.
Yeah, so
there's no one formula, basically.
Yeah, no, but you actually, your background is you have traditional media experience as well as new media, and even just now in the keynote, Sean Rourke was talking about the two are sort of merging.
Yes.
And do you feel that they've always been aligned, or do you feel like, yes, they are merging again, and do you feel like people aren't maybe, taking advantage of that and incorporating the two as they should?
I think it's the last thing you said. I think they've always been aligned, and I think many companies have really not coordinated together. They've really missed the opportunity of the engagement between the offline and the online, because I was looking at the survey fairly recently, and it said that only 55% of search marketers integrate with the offline components, or really coordinate efforts with the offline components. And that was a recent Jupiter Media study. And then also in a Jupiter Media study, they said that 67% of people are driven online after being exposed to something offline, whether it was television, word of mouth, those two being the top, but there's also billboard, there's radio, there's all these components where people are driven online to search for more and to find more information. And I think it's always been there. If you think about it, I can give you many examples over the years for just myself where I've heard something, I've seen something on TV, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that's about, and I'll go and I'll look for it. And I just, for some reason, they got separated, and I think it's just because it was new media, and it was, new, people didn't really understand, so we're like, oh, we'll just create this over here.
Sure.
But now people are finally understanding that, there is an overall conversation that we're having out there with everyone, whether it's through mobile marketing, through video, through search, through television, through word of mouth. There's all these different touch points that we have, and so we really need to pull it together. Otherwise, you're going to end up frustrating people, and you can cause damage to the brand as well as lose sales. Because people want a seamless approach. They don't care if you're in charge of search. They don't care if you're in charge of just the website. They don't care if you're in charge of just television. They want a seamless approach to what they're trying to do, because they just want what they want when they want it.
So at least meet your customers halfway, if not the entire way.
Exactly.
Right?